I woke up standing at the top of a staircase that wasn't supposed to exist. My house is a circle. One of those weird architectural experiments where every hallway curves until you're back where you started. I've lived here for 3 years, and I know every corner of it. There are no stairs, no basement, no attic, just a single looping floor. But that night, I was standing at the top of a staircase spiraling down into blackness. The air smelled metallic, like blood and electricity. My legs were trembling, though I didn't remember walking there. At the bottom of the stairs, something moved, a shadow that didn't belong to me. It stretched, twitched, and then slid back into the dark like it knew I'd seen it. I told myself I was dreaming, but my palms hurt from where my nails had dug in. The house was silent, too silent. No refrigerator hum, no pipes groaning, nothing. Then I heard it. A low growl. Not quite animal, not quite human. And it was getting closer. I froze at the top of the stairs, every instinct screaming at me to run, but my body wouldn't move. The growl deepened, reverberating up the spiral like something massive was circling below. I leaned against the curved wall, trying to catch my breath. That's when I saw it. 2 pinpricks of light reflecting in the dark. Eyes. They were low to the ground, level with the last step. I thought dog, but no dog looks like that. The eyes weren't steady. They flickered in and out, like a bad signal. And the shape around them wasn't solid. It was like a dog made of absence, a body cut out of reality. A black void in the shape of something alive. I whispered, hello. My voice cracked. The thing padded 1 step closer. The sound it made wasn't paws on wood, it was silence. Like each step erased sound itself. Suddenly, every light in the house blinked off. I was swallowed whole. I don't remember running. One moment I was on the stairs, the next I was slamming my bedroom door shut, fumbling for my phone. When the screen lit up, I nearly dropped it. On the glass, instead of the lock screen, words were typed out in my notes app. Don't look at it too long. I stared at the screen, my pulse hammering. I hadn't typed that. Nobody else had access to my phone. Before I could think, the message deleted itself. Just blink, gone. Back to the lock screen. I tried to convince myself it was a glitch, some weird AI predictive text hiccup. But then I saw the reflection in the black glass of my phone. Someone was standing behind me. I spun so fast I almost fell. The room was empty. My bed, my desk, the window, nothing out of place. But in the corner, near the door, the air shimmered like heat-off asphalt. A human-shaped smear of darker shadow wavered in place. I kept whispering, no, 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 no. It leaned forward. I swear to God, I felt the mattress shift under its weight as it sat down beside me. The smell of disinfectant hit me then. Sharp, sterile. A hospital smell. And just when I thought I'd break, a woman's voice whispered in my ear, low and urgent. Don't go back down there. The stairs aren't real. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. I sat there, back against the wall, staring at the corner until sunrise. By daylight, the staircase was gone. Just smooth hardwood curving like always, no break in the circle. I almost convinced myself I'd hallucinated everything. Until I left for work. The drive was routine, 2-lane highway cutting through endless farmland. About 20 minutes in, I noticed a figure on the shoulder. A woman in old-fashioned nurse scrubs, the kind you'd see in faded black and white photos. She stood perfectly still, hands clasped in front of her, watching the cars go by. I slowed, uneasy. When I passed, I glanced in the rearview mirror. She was gone. Not walking away, not hidden by the road curve, just gone. And then my phone buzzed in the cup holder. I hadn't touched it. The screen lit up with the notes app again. You shouldn't have left. I slammed the brakes without thinking. When I looked up, the road in front of me wasn't there. Just open field. The asphalt ended cleanly, like it had been swallowed. And behind me, the growl came again. The sound rolled across the field, low and guttural, vibrating in my bones. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my hands went numb. The rearview mirror shook. Something was moving behind the car, blotting out the horizon as if a piece of the night had torn loose and followed me into daylight. The void dog. It padded onto the pavement, each step erasing the sunlight around it. The black shimmer of its body didn't reflect, didn't even exist the way anything else did. My brain kept trying to fill in details, fur, a snout, paws, but all I could see was absence. I threw the car in reverse, tires screaming against gravel, desperate to get away from the vanishing road. But the faster I went, the more the landscape warped. Fences bent at wrong angles, telephone poles stretched impossibly tall, the fields rippled like water. And then, just for a split second, I saw her. The nurse. She was standing in the middle of the warped field, staring straight at me. Her mouth moved, but the words didn't reach. The dog thing lunged, and every light inside my car's dash went dead. Total silence. When the world snapped back, I was parked in my own driveway, and the engine was off. I sat in the car for what felt like hours, gripping the wheel like it could anchor me. My phone was in the cup holder, screen black. I didn't want to touch it. Eventually, I forced myself inside. The house was too quiet again. That silence that presses on your eardrums makes you feel like you've gone deaf. I went room to room. Kitchen, living room, bathroom. Everything looked normal. Ordinary. But when I got back to the bedroom, my laptop was on. I don't leave it on. I don't even remember opening it that morning. The screen glowed with a blank document, the cursor blinking. And then, without me touching the keyboard, words began to appear. You left the road. I stumbled back, knocking over the chair. My chest was so tight I could barely breathe. The typing continued. The house won't keep you safe. I slammed the lid shut, but I still heard the keys clicking inside, typing furiously in the dark. That's when my phone buzzed. Against every instinct, I looked. New message. No number. Just one line. Stop looking for stairs. And then, from the corner of the room, a single creak, like a footstep on wood that shouldn't be there. The sound came again. Another creak, heavy and deliberate, as if someone was putting their full weight on a step. But there were no stairs in that room. Just my desk, my bed, and the curved wall. Still, when I pressed my ear against the floorboards, I swore I could feel a faint vibration, like something moving underneath. I backed away, whispering to myself over and over, "This house doesn't have a basement. This house doesn't have stairs." That's when the lights flickered. Just once. Enough to make me see it, on the far side of the room, tucked against the curve of the wall. A staircase. Narrow, spiraling down into the same blackness I'd seen before. Only this time, it wasn't silent. A steady, rhythmic tapping drifted up, like someone slowly descending with a cane. I tried to look away, but my eyes kept dragging back. My chest tightened until I thought I'd pass out. And then, from the shadows below, a voice rose up, raspy, almost playful. "You came back." My legs moved before my brain caught up. Each step I took toward the staircase felt wrong, like walking into a photograph that should have been flat. The air grew colder. My breath fogged in front of me, even though the rest of the house was warm. That tapping sound, cane, bone, something, I couldn't tell, echoed up, perfectly in rhythm with my heartbeat. I gripped the banister. It was slick, damp, almost pulsing. I leaned over the edge, trying to see who, or what, was coming up. But the spiral seemed endless, like it was folding down into itself, the steps vanishing into a black throat. And then I heard it again, the growl. Deeper this time. The void dog was below me. I stumbled back, but when I turned, the bedroom was gone. Behind me stretched another hallway. Narrow, pale green walls, flickering fluorescence overhead. I knew that smell instantly. Hospital disinfectant. At the far end of the hallway, a figure in nurse scrubs turned the corner. She didn't look at me. She just walked steadily away, disappearing into the sickly glow. And when she turned, her shadow didn't follow. The hallway stretched longer with every step I took, like I was walking on a treadmill built into reality. The nurse was always just out of reach, her figure dissolving in the flickering lights before reappearing a few feet ahead. I called out, my voice cracked, desperate. "Hey, please wait." She stopped. Slowly, she turned her head, just enough for me to see her profile. Her face wasn't right. Her mouth was too wide, carved into a permanent grimace. And when she spoke, her voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. "You don't belong here." The fluorescents above popped one by one, plunging the hallway into darkness behind me, the blackness racing closer like a tide. I ran. I didn't even think. The nurse kept walking ahead, calm and steady, while the lights died overhead and the darkness pressed against my back. Just before it swallowed me, she opened a door at the end of the hall and slipped inside. I threw myself after her, nearly slamming face first into the wall. And I was back in my circular house. Only wrong. The walls curved tighter, the air was heavy, and every doorway now opened to a staircase spiraling downward. Every Single. 1. I spun in circles, chest heaving. No matter where I turned, kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, every door yawned open onto the same impossible spiral staircase, each one plunging into the same black throat. It was like the house had folded in on itself. A trap. I tried the front door. My hand shook so badly I almost missed the knob. When I pulled it open, daylight should have poured in. Instead, another staircase curved down into the void, waiting. Behind me, the walls creaked, the wood groaning like the whole structure was breathing. My phone buzzed in my pocket, nearly stopping my heart. I pulled it out with trembling hands. A new note. One way down. I dropped it. The phone clattered across the floorboards, screen still glowing. And then, I heard movement. Not from below this time. From above. I looked up. The ceiling was splitting open. Another staircase, upside down, descended toward me. Its steps hanging from nothing, its shadows dripping like liquid across the walls. And on the inverted steps, a figure crawled. Too many joints, too long limbs, bending the wrong way. It was coming down headfirst, fast. I did the only thing I could. I chose a staircase and ran. The staircase swallowed me whole. The farther I went, the less my steps made sound, until even the echo of my own breathing was gone. It wasn't just dark, it was absence. I could still see the stairs under my feet, but they weren't lit by anything. They just were. Floating shapes in a place where light didn't exist. I don't know how long I descended. Minutes? Hours. The spiral never ended, and my legs should have been shaking with exhaustion, but they weren't. It felt like time had peeled away, leaving me stuck in one endless moment. And then, at the corner of my eye, I saw a movement. Something was climbing beside me, on the outside of the staircase. A shadow figure, human-shaped but flattened, like someone had pressed a person into paper. It clung to the curved wall, keeping pace. Every time I tried to look straight at it, it blurred, sliding out of focus, but I could feel its attention. Heavy, suffocating. My phone buzzed in my pocket again. Against all reason, I pulled it out. The screen glowed with a single line of text, though I hadn't touched it. Don't let it pass you. And when I looked up, the shadow figure was moving faster. I broke into a sprint, the spiral whipping around me in a blur of impossible geometry. The stairs never widened or narrowed, but the shadow, God, the shadow, kept gaining. It didn't move like a person. It unfolded, flattened, stretched across the walls, slipping closer with every turn. When I glanced over my shoulder, it was already above me, crawling down the wall upside down, arms and legs bending in ways that made my stomach lurch. The buzzing in my pocket came again. I didn't want to look, but I couldn't stop myself. Another message on the screen. If it passes you, you stay here. Stay here. Forever. The meaning hit like ice water. I shoved the phone back in my pocket and pushed my legs harder. My lungs burned even though the air was cold and thin, like breathing through cloth. And then, finally, I saw it. The bottom. A flat, black surface stretched out ahead, swallowing the last of the spiral. It wasn't floor or ground, just endless void, smooth as glass. The stairs ended there. No doors. No walls. No way out. And the shadow was right on my heels. I hit the last step and froze. The staircase ended in nothing. Just that slick, black surface stretching forever. It looked solid, but it didn't reflect me. It didn't reflect anything. Like standing on the edge of a mirror that refused to acknowledge my existence. Behind me, the shadow figure scraped closer, dragging itself along the wall with movements that bent physics in half. Its face, or where a face should have been, was a blur, a smudge of deeper black that made my stomach churn just to look at. I had two choices: step forward into the void, or let it pass me. The buzzing in my pocket went off again, frantic this time. I yanked out the phone. The screen lit up on its own, words flashing so fast they blurred together before settling into one message. Don't stop. I stepped off the final stair. The void held. My foot didn't sink. It landed silent, weightless, like walking on frozen smoke. I took another step, then another. The surface rippled under me, faint rings spreading out like I was disturbing water. And then I realized the ripples weren't coming from me. Something else was moving, far out across the black. A shape rising, taller and taller, unfolding like a tower of shadow peeling itself out of the floor. The figure behind me laughed, but the sound came from directly in front. The laugh echoed through the black expanse, rattling in my skull like it came from inside my head. My legs locked. I couldn't tell anymore if the sound was ahead of me, behind me, or everywhere at once. The rising shape kept unfolding, too tall, too thin, its edges shivering like static. Every ripple in the void spread outward from its base, carrying the sense of something alive beneath the surface. My phone buzzed again, though I never felt myself pull it out. The screen was already in my hand, glowing in the dark. Turn around. I didn't want to, but my body did it for me. The staircase I descended was gone. In its place, maybe 20 feet back, stood my house. Just a slice of it, curved walls, and a single door, floating in the void like someone had copy-pasted it out of reality. Light spilled from the doorway, warm and familiar. I could almost smell home, coffee, wood polish, laundry detergent. Then the message on the phone changed. Not your house. The doorway flickered. For a split second, I saw what was really inside. Another spiral staircase, yawning down into nothing. And the shadow figure was waiting at the threshold, one hand reaching out like it was inviting me back. I couldn't move. My body swayed between two hungers, the familiar glow of the doorway and the towering shape rising from the void. The nurse's voice broke the silence. Not around me, inside me, whispering through bone. Choose wrong, and you stay. The house flickered again, warm light shifting into a harsh, sterile glare. For a heartbeat, I saw a hospital corridor behind that door. Peeling linoleum, broken gurneys lining the walls, blood smearing the tiles. Then it snapped back to home. I clenched my fists, tried to remind myself of something solid. My real house. My real life. The curve of my couch. The way the hallway smelled after rain. Anything. But the shadow figure lifted its arm, and in the doorway I saw myself. Me, standing there, pale and glassy-eyed, one hand reaching like a mirror trying to pull me through. Behind me, the tower of shadow cracked the surface, and I realized what the ripples had been hiding. The black dog. Its void shape padded out from the base of the rising figure, its growl rolling low, patient, hungry. And in the glowing doorway, my double smiled. My double smile stretched wider, too wide, splitting skin that didn't bleed. It lifted a hand and curled one finger at me, beckoning. The dog's growl deepened. I felt it in the void beneath my feet, rattling through my bones. The phone buzzed again. My hands shook as I raised it, though I already knew I wouldn't like what I saw. One of them is you. One of them isn't. The words pulsed, almost alive, and then melted off the screen like ink dripping into water. I whipped my head between the two choices, the dog circling with silence where its footsteps should have been, and the thing wearing my face, waiting in the doorway of the knot house. I tried to scream, but the void smothered sound. My throat worked uselessly, a silent howl. Then my double spoke, calm and steady, my voice perfectly mimicked. You already chose. You came back down. Its eyes glowed faintly, like screen light in a dark room. And in that moment, I realized, it wasn't smiling at me. It was smiling past me. Something was standing right behind me on the void. Cold breath slid across the back of my neck. Not warm, not human, just absence, like air moving through a vacuum. My skin prickled, every hair standing on end. I didn't turn. I couldn't. Every instinct screamed that turning would mean accepting whatever was there. The dog circled closer, its growl vibrating through the void. My double leaned casually against the doorframe, waiting, smirk carved into its face like it had all the time in the world. The phone buzzed in my hand, but I was too terrified to look. The buzzing turned frantic, jittering, like it was alive and trying to leap from my palm. Against my will, I glanced down. The screen glowed with a single line, all caps. If you see it, IT sees you. Something brushed my shoulder. Not fingers. Not fur. Something formless, heavy, like the weight of a shadow falling across me. I squeezed my eyes shut. My knees buckled. I could feel it leaning in, its presence flooding my chest with pressure, like I was being buried under water and dirt at the same time. And then, from the dark just behind my ear, it whispered in my own voice. Look. I broke. I turned. At first, I thought I was staring into a mirror, but the reflection was wrong. Too tall. Too thin. My face stretched over a body that wasn't built for it, skin pulled tight across angles that didn't belong. The eyes weren't mine either. They were bottomless pits, glowing faintly like coals buried in ash. It leaned closer until our foreheads nearly touched. I could see my own warped face smiling back at me, lips twitching like they were barely holding back laughter. Behind it, the tower of shadow loomed higher, unspooling like film burning in reverse. The dog padded to its side, tail lashing in slow, deliberate arcs that erased the void where it moved. My double in the doorway spoke again, my voice, too casual, too certain. See? It was always you. The thing in front of me opened its mouth. No teeth, no tongue, just a hole. A black, endless hole. And I felt myself leaning forward, like gravity had shifted, pulling me into it. My phone buzzed one last time in my hand. The screen lit with words so faint I had to squint to see them. Don't let it breathe you in. I dug my nails into my palms until I felt skin split, anything to anchor myself. The pull of that mouth was tidal, every breath dragging me closer. My phone slipped from my hand, clattering silently onto the void. The screen shattered, spiderwebbing light across the black surface. For a heartbeat, I saw something in the cracks, like windows into other places. A road at night. A hospital ward. My bedroom. Each fragment a door. The shadow leaned closer, the hole of its mouth yawning wide enough to swallow my head. My double in the doorway laughed. My laugh, warped and too loud. The void dog growled in rhythm with my heart. Faster, faster, until I thought I'd black out. I dropped to my knees, pressing my face toward the broken phone, desperate. One shard glowed brighter than the rest. My real house. My real bedroom. I slammed my hand into the glass. The void tore open. A scream ripped through me, not from my throat, but from the shadow itself. It sounded like metal shearing apart. For an instant, I fell, through light, through static, through the smell of bleach and dirt and burning wires. And then I was on my bedroom floor. The phone was beside me. Screen dark. No cracks. I thought I was safe, until I saw the closet door. It was open, and inside, the spiral staircase waited. I stared at the open closet, my body locked between fight and collapse. The staircase curled down into the dark, exactly as before, patient, waiting. I told myself not to move. Just stay on the floor. Don't look. Don't acknowledge it. But the air shifted. The smell of disinfectant seeped out, sharp and chemical. From deep below came the steady tap-tap-tap of a cane, or bone, or something pretending to be both. Then, my phone lit up on its own. I didn't touch it. Across the black screen, a final message appeared. You never left. The closet light blinked once and went out. And in that instant of darkness, I felt the warm exhale of something massive rising up the stairwell, breathing me in.